Now let's have a look on this, fix common problems. It might have nothing to do with the hard drive, but it does. Parity has read errors. Hey everyone, welcome. What you see in the background is my unRAID server, and I can say the title is quite well matching this video because my unRAID server is not all that happy for the last week, I must add. I'm on vacation, as you can see, in my house, yeah, and I thought it was a good idea to finally sort out my videos, my series, TV shows, movies and music collection. And for that, in my unRAID server, I only used one caching SSD, and that caching SSD was also used for the shares, music and video. So everything I upload to my unRAID server is going to the cache drive, and later on when it invokes the mover, it puts it on the array for me. So my caching SSD is only 500 gigabytes. That's this one, the Samsung Evo. Been there for a long time already. Yeah, this one is in use 1 year, 8 months and 12 days. Yeah. Now I also use this caching SSD for all my Docker containers, and as you can see, it's filled up to 37% because all the app data stuff, etc. is on there as well. So that leaves me with even less space for caching for the array. So last weekend it filled up to almost maximum capacity, and then the Docker service failed. Yeah, Dockers were not accessible anymore, and there was a little bit of a problem. So I invoked the mover and everything was put on the array, but the Docker service wasn't coming up again. I had no way of starting it manually, so eventually I thought, well, let's stop the array and maybe do a reboot of my unRAID server. So I stopped the array, at least that was the intention, and after half an hour it was still stopping. So that wasn't going to stop the array in a clean state. Eventually I decided to just, well, initiate a shutdown and hope for the best. So when it was shut down, I had the brilliant idea of adding another caching SSD. You can see in the background here, just a 256 gigabyte SSD I had laying around. I thought, well, at least I can test it with another cache pool. Because of the newer unRAID versions, you can add multiple cache pools. Maybe a good time to start playing with that as well. So I installed another caching SSD. So then I powered on the unRAID server again with the new SSD installed. And when it was started, it gave the notification unclean shutdown detected. Of course, that was to be expected because the array didn't respond to a shutdown. So a clean shutdown wasn't an option, therefore it gave that message. So now with the second SSD installed, I created another cache pool and I named that one download. I started the array, it started formatting the download, you see here in the background, that SSD. So it started formatting that and it was usable on my unRAID server, very nice. So I went to shares, in the background it was doing the parity check, and with 8 terabyte drives it takes about 15 hours to complete. So I wasn't planning on waiting that out. I just wanted to get going with the media management again and hopefully finish it while I still had vacation. That was basically the idea. So I went to the shares, went to the video share, and here I selected, instead of cache, the download SSD. And I did the same with the music share. So everything was good. But when I started uploading videos and music again to my unRAID server, I noticed that it was rather sluggish because of the parity check that was still running in the background. So eventually I decided, what if I just pause the parity check and I will resume it later on. Every Wednesday it does a weekly parity check. At that moment it was already Tuesday. So I thought, well, yeah, what the heck. So the next morning, Wednesday already, I logged in again to resume my business with media management, and to my surprise, I saw that it gave the notification array started, you see on the background, with no pause or resume option even in the main display, like here. It wasn't there anymore. I couldn't resume it, like it was finished, and it said finding no errors, duration 15 or 16 hours, and well, I thought, well, it must have completed by itself. I didn't resume it. So later that night, Wednesday, 11 p.m., it started the parity check again. So then it was Thursday and I logged in again to my unRAID server. And to my surprise, I saw the parity drive had errors. Okay, current pending sector with a count of 432. What it basically means is that the sectors that are listed here are marked as weak sectors and a drive failure may be imminent. Yeah, that's basically the error message of that. So yeah, that's quite serious actually. So what it does after this is move the data that's on those sectors to a spare area of the hard drive, and you will get the reallocated sector count. You can see on top right here. Let's close these messages. The update, okay. That one, yes, fine. Okay, we leave that one open because I haven't looked into that today. Reallocated sector count, and it says 0, but it does say 432 raw value on the current pending sector. So after this, I thought it might be a good idea that when the parity check has finished, to do an extended S.M.A.R.T self-test. You can see on the top here, to see if this drive is actually failing, because I find it a bit of a coincidence that with the latest parity check, just after that, exactly at this moment, I get an error like this. Yeah, a bit strange in my opinion. But okay, the drive could be failing. This is, by the way, one of the drives I bought last year. One of the first drives from Western Digital, the MyBooks. First I bought the MyBooks, after that the Elements. Yeah, those were the MyBook drives, and these were the ESAS drives, I believe. Yeah, the ESAS drives. I took them out of their enclosure, so shocking the hard drives. And with that, avoided the warranty. It would be a real shame if this hard drive is actually failing, because I have no way of returning the drive. So basically, yeah, I lost a not so old hard drive. At this moment, hard drives are well known for mining, and that drove the price of hard drives like that up. I bought these hard drives for 120 euros. If I want to buy a MyBook at this moment, it will set me back for about what, 220 euros? Yeah, that would be a real shame. So when the parity check had finally finished yesterday, I invoked the S.M.A.R.T extended self-test, and after an hour it was at 10%. So I figured, well, let it run for the night and we will see tomorrow, actually today. And this morning it was finished and it gave this message: completed without error. But the error count is still here, 432. What will I do next? Well, probably pay too much for another 8 terabyte hard drive. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I was planning to expand the array with 2 more 8 terabyte hard drives, one for the array itself and a second parity drive. That was my initial idea. But I wanted to wait it out till the prices would go down again, and yeah, then buy a couple more hard drives. So now I have to buy a new hard drive just in case, probably, replace it with this parity drive, then do another extensive check on the hard drive. Or what I could do at first is start the parity check again this weekend, somewhere this weekend. And then maybe, just maybe, if this is a false positive, the current pending sector, it will disappear again. Because the extended S.M.A.R.T test, the most extensive test I could do on this hard drive, has completed without error. We have a S.M.A.R.T error log, no errors logged. It maybe these errors had occurred because the first parity check didn't finish. It was on 59% or so, and then magically mentioned that it was fine, that it was clear, it had completed. But I didn't resume the parity check. So with the second parity check, the weekly parity check, these errors occurred. Yeah, now let's have a look on this, fix common problems. It might have nothing to do with the hard drive, but it does. Parity has read errors. Yeah, so if the disk has not been disabled, then unRAID had successfully rewritten the contents of the offending sectors back to the hard drive. it would be a good idea to look at the SMART attributes for the hard drive. Begin investigation here. Yeah, this will take me straight to the hard drive again and the attributes we were just a couple of seconds ago. And of course the error remains. But the reallocated sector count is still on 0. Probably I have to buy that 8 terabyte drive anyway now. Because if this error stays like this, yeah, that's not something that I want in my unRAID server, because at the moment it's the only parity drive. Which basically means if one of the member drives fails and I need to rebuild with the parity drive, the data that was on that other failed disk, it might fail as well, because it might have problems, or the drive itself, the parity drive itself, might fail during the rebuild process. Other than that, yeah, let's close this message. I also want to install another graphics card. Yeah, at the moment I have one GTX 970 on pass-through, and it's passed through to my gaming VM. Whenever I'm away from home and I want to play a game, I do it on Orion. You see on the background, that's my gaming VM, and it works pretty fine. But I also want a graphics card for transcoding with Plex. Now I have tested the transcoding part for Plex with a GTX 1050 that I borrowed from a colleague. That was working pretty good. But now I wanted a graphics card for myself. At first I was looking at the P2000, a Quadro card, but that one still is 400 plus. That's a bit too expensive for my taste for just transcoding, because in-house I don't need transcoding. The Nvidia Shield is direct play and all my other devices are as well. For that I don't need it. But for my friends, if they want to watch a movie, then it's going to transcode. And because this server is also running V2B service, Minecraft service, and all other stuff, if it transcodes without a GPU, then it will be software transcoding, which means the CPU is doing all the hard work. If it is transcoding 1 or 2 streams full HD, that's not a problem for this Threadripper. But if someone starts a 4K movie, that's a different story. And yeah, you can say, well, why do you want to transcode 4K stuff? Well, I'm expanding my library of movies with a 4K versions of those movies. And in the beginning I was managing that with a full HD folder on my server and a 4K folder. But some of the movies I have them on Blu-ray disc 4K, and I have them in full HD Blu-ray. And that would mean that for Star Wars, for example, one of the movies from the series is in the full HD folder, and the other movies are in the 4K folder. So I'm not happy with the way I have managed this at the moment. So I want to have everything in one folder. So people can also start 4K movies. And yeah, then the Threadripper doesn't know how to handle that. Basically all the CPU power it has is used for transcoding movies within Plex. And yeah, for that, I want a graphics card. Now, what I have bought is this thing you see in the background now. It's a Quadro M2000. I got it for 126 euros. Of course, shipping excluded, which adds another 12 euros or so. But 126 euros I paid for this graphics card. This one has unlimited sessions and I believe 12 concurrent streams. I don't know exactly how many streams I will get out of it when it needs to transcode 4K stuff. But we will see. I just wanted to add a graphics card anyway to my unRAID server, preferably a Quadro card, and now I bought a M2000. It's scheduled to be delivered to me on next Tuesday or Wednesday. So when I have it, I will of course keep you guys informed of the status of this, and we'll maybe do a video about that as well, the configuration, etc. With the Quadro card it is a bit easier than with a GeForce card, because you need to manipulate the driver for that. Probably the follow-up video will be me talking about the current status of my server, and that will include the parity drive. As I mentioned, I will run the parity check again this weekend and hopefully the errors will be gone. If not, then I will buy a new 8 terabyte hard drive. Maybe not a MyBook drive. Maybe I'm not going to shuck drives anymore. It's something different than I stated when I did shuck my first hard drives. And I mentioned that you can buy 3 of those hard drives and still have money in the bank left than if you would have bought those drives as RAID drives retail. Yeah. if they fail on me within 1.5 years, then it's going to be an expensive hobby. Yeah, so I will see what drive I will buy. It will probably still be a Western Digital hard drive. I have good experience with those drives, and yeah, I like to have all the hard drives in the server of the same brand. But I will do an update on that as well. So yeah, with that being said, I will leave the video at this. It's just something I wanted to talk about with you guys. And if you have some ideas I could try out to resolve this issue, other than that I have mentioned in this video, please let me know in the comment section. Of course, if you have other comment suggestions, maybe some advice, you can leave them down in the comment section as well. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!